I step into the opulent ballroom of the Silver Pine Estate and immediately question my decision to come. Light cascades from towering chandeliers, catching the polished marble beneath in a silent display of affluence. Around me, wealth hums in restrained murmurs, as if spoken too loudly it might shatter the illusion. Ethan's hand settles gently at the small of my back, his familiar touch anchoring me to the moment. "Breathe," he whispers, his sharp surgeon's eyes scanning me like a patient mid-procedure. "We belong here." Noah, our 6-year-old, tugs at his bow tie with frustration. "Mom, this thing is trying to strangle me." I kneel, loosening the knot with a small smile. "Just for a little while, champ. Remember our deal? Good behavior now, pool party later." The crowd shifts, a path opening just wide enough for my breath to catch. A figure, half-turned, catches my eye. The slight angle of her neck, the way she leans forward mid-laugh. It's been 11 years, but my body remembers that silhouette before my mind can even process it. The bride lifts a champagne flute in a toast, and across the golden-lit room, our eyes lock. Lena, my sister. The glass in my hand trembles, the only outward tremor of the storm unraveling inside me. I hadn't made the connection when the invitation arrived. The name Carter Wills hadn't registered. I assumed Lena still went by our family name, Rowan. Her gasp slices through the hum of conversation. Heads turn. Music floats on, but a pocket of silence forms around us, stretching wider by the second. Behind her, Mom's face drains to a ghostly pale, then floods crimson. Dad steps instinctively in front of Lena, just as he always did, shielding her like I was some threat to be neutralized. "What are you doing here?" Mom hisses, sharp enough that a few guests glance over, curious. For a fleeting second, I'm 21 again, soaked in the rain, suitcase in hand, nowhere to go. Ethan steps forward, his tone calm but firm. My wife was invited. She's the CEO of Sorellatech. The groom extended a personal invitation. The name Sorellatech ripples across the nearby cluster of medical professionals like a dropped stone in water. I hear murmurs, recognition, interest. CEO? A woman in a wine-colored gown leans toward her companion. That's Ava Rowan. I blink against the memory, the door slamming behind me. Dad's words, final and merciless. "If you're too proud to help out at the clinic, don't come back." Now I stand here, in a designer gown, the rain-soaked girl long gone. In her place, a woman who built everything from nothing, who didn't fade, who fought her way into the light. "Doctor." Carter Wills appears at Lena's side, his brows drawing together in confusion. His eyes flick between my calm expression and Lena's frozen smile. "You know the CEO of Sorellatech?" he asks, clearly directing the question at my parents. Then, turning toward me with growing intrigue, "We've been trying to connect with your company for months. Your monitoring platform is changing post-op care." Lena forces a smile, but it buckles at the edges. Mom and Dad share a frantic look. The murmurs around us swell, curiosity sharpening into scrutiny. I could burn it all down. I could reveal the lies, how they told everyone I dropped out, how they funneled my tuition money to pay for Lena's path. I could expose them right here in front of their newest son-in-law. But instead, I say only, "Hi, Lena, congratulations." The words drop like a thunderclap. Lena flinches. Ethan's hand returns to the small of my back. Steady, silent. A question in touch. Stay or go? Noah looks up at me, his young face oblivious to the tension tightening the air. "Mom, is that lady in the white dress your friend?" Carter's eyes sharpen. He glances from me to Lena, from his bride to the stranger she clearly isn't a stranger to. "Lena?" His voice trembles slightly. "I thought you said your sister was—" The sentence dies in the air, unfinished. Lena's eyes dart between her husband and our parents, scrambling for words. For the first time in my life, I watch her search for something to say, and come up empty. There's a moment when you walk into a room and know, this was a mistake, but sometimes that's not really regret. It's fear. wearing a disguise, and I haven't been afraid in a very long time. And this is my wife, Lena, Carter beams, sliding an arm around her waist. A graduate of Eastbridge and the brilliant mind running her family's medical clinic up in Maple Hollow. I stand 10 feet away, my champagne untouched, watching her smile as she's introduced to a cluster of physicians. Her pearl earrings catch the chandelier light just as she tilts her head. A movement I know well, a tic from childhood, a signal that she's about to bend the truth. The Rowan Wellness Center has served our town for over 30 years, she says, her voice perfectly calibrated between modesty and pride. We specialize in family medicine and senior care. Ethan brushes my elbow, drawing my attention sideways. Beside us, a poised, silver-haired woman in a tailored pantsuit adjusts her conference badge. Sorella Tech. Her eyes widen in recognition. You're Ava Rowan. Your talk at last month's medical summit was extraordinary. The recovery system you developed? It's transforming post-op care across 3 states. 4, actually, I respond with a smile. We just finalized a deal with the North Crescent Hospital Network. Across the ballroom, Lena stammers through something about platelet therapy trends. One of the doctors raises an eyebrow, glancing at his colleague. I thought Eastbridge's med school stopped emphasizing that technique 3 years ago. Her laugh comes, high and hollow. Well, you know academia. Some professors stick to the old ways. I see it then. Carter's shift, slight but telling. A subtle furrow between his brows. His arm, once casually around her waist, now retreats just a fraction. Behind me, a familiar voice cuts through the low hum of conversation. Ava. I turn. My father. 11 years older than when I last saw him, but that voice still carries the same sharp command that used to send me scrambling to answer phones, while Lena practiced her scales in the next room. You need to leave, he says, stepping between me and the room like a blockade. You're ruining Lena's day. Ethan stiffens, but I place a hand on his arm. Steady. I was invited, I say, my voice even, by Carter. Maybe you should explain why that bothers you. My father's face hardens. The designer suit can't conceal the small-town doctor beneath, the one whose power ends at the edge of his outdated clinic. Don't play the victim. You show up flaunting whatever company you say you run. Sorella Tech, Ethan interjects, stepping forward, calm, direct. The Boston Medical Technology Conference last month featured her as the keynote. Her systems are currently used in 27 hospitals across the country. At that, a guest nearby turns, clearly recognizing the name. The shift is palpable. Recognition blooms, and curiosity turns into quiet admiration. Across the room, Mom buzzes frantically near Lena, trying to corral Carter's colleagues away from me, her hands fluttering like startled birds. Too late. The dots are connecting now. Noah tugs on my hand, looking up with wide eyes. Mom, can I have cake now? You promised. In just a minute, sweetheart, I whisper. He looks over to Lena, his voice innocent. Is that lady your sister? Did she go to Eastbridge like you did? My father's face goes pale. Before he can speak, Noah adds brightly, You showed me your college pictures. The red buildings were so cool. Lena is standing closer now, Carter at her side. Her face freezes. Eastbridge? Carter repeats, glancing between us. You went to Eastbridge too, Ava? Class of 2014, I reply simply. A well-known cardiologist, one of the doctors listening in, turns to Carter. You didn't mention your wife's sister was Ava Rowan. Her algorithm for predicting surgical complications? Game-changing. North Crescent Medical dropped their readmission rate by 22% thanks to her systems. I watch the weight of a decade of lies settle onto Lena's shoulders. She reaches for Carter, but he steps slightly aside. His attention is no longer on her. It's fully locked on the conversation surrounding me. In my mind, it's raining again. The sound of droplets against my dorm window, the sting of betrayal fresh in my chest. I remember staring at that bank statement, the numbers not making sense. My college fund, gone. transferred into an account I didn't recognize. That same week, a glossy envelope arrived. Photos of Lena on a spring break trip to Costa Azul. I couldn't understand how they afforded it. Now I know. And I'm still standing. The same day that spring break photos arrived, Lena sun-kissed and carefree on the beaches of Costa Azul, I'd stared at my drained bank account, trying to understand where my tuition money had gone. I blink the memory away as I refocus on the present. Across the ballroom, I see Carter pulling Lena aside. Their conversation sharpens into visible tension. His face cycles from confusion to disbelief, and then something colder, harder, as Lena clutches at his sleeve. "You told me you graduated from Eastbridge," he says, just loud enough that I, and several nearby guests, can hear. "I went there. I've never once heard your name mentioned by any of the faculty." Her response tumbles out, rushed and shaky. It was a remote program, special track. Most of it was online. "Eastbridge Med doesn't offer remote degrees," he replies, voice now cold and absolute. It never has. The blood drains from Lena's face. Her whole posture changes, like someone watching her perfect life crumble beneath her feet. Her eyes find mine across the room, wide, desperate. Carter straightens his tie and steps away from her. With calm, deliberate strides, he walks past the bewildered guests, past my parents, past the shell of a woman he just married, until he reaches me. "Let's talk somewhere quieter," he says softly, hand brushing my elbow. His fingers tremble, though his voice doesn't crack. That restraint. It's the only sign he's unraveling. We step into a quiet alcove along the ballroom's edge. 2 plush chairs tucked beside a side table, shadows wrapping gently around us. He sits across from me, jaw tight, eyes full of questions he hasn't formed yet. "I'm sorry for the awkwardness," he starts, trying to adjust his bow tie. You didn't know she had a sister," I finish, keeping my tone neutral. He blinks. "She mentioned someone once, said you flunked out of school, couldn't handle the pressure, vanished." That old ache stirs, but I don't flinch. "I graduated summa cum laude," I say, while working 3 jobs. His brows rise, furrowing. "3?" he echoes. "Mornings at a cafe, evenings on hospital reception, weekends answering phones at a call center." I don't say it for sympathy. I say it because it's true. The exhaustion resurfaces as I recall those nights, nodding off over textbooks, scraping together enough for used copies, surviving on instant noodles. The countless moments I questioned if any of it would ever be worth it. I paid my own way through school. No family help. Each word sinks between us like pebbles dropped into still water. I watch him absorb it, the information reassembling everything he thought he knew. "Eastbridge?" he asks again, cautious now. I shake my head. "Started at Oak Ridge Community College, then transferred to Millen State. Eastbridge was never an option. Not after I found out my college fund had been—" I pause, letting the silence speak. "Redirected to Lena's education," he finishes. Realization settling. The ballroom fades. I'm back in those early days, couch surfing at Sarah's, crashing on a too soft mattress, getting kicked out when Jaime's boyfriend changed his mind. I remember showering at the YWCA, eating stale crackers at midnight, begging professors for extensions because I couldn't think straight after back-to-back shifts. And the hospital where I worked reception, I continue, that's where I met Ethan. He was still in his residency. I can still see it. My cramped desk, medical textbooks open beside an uneaten sandwich. The night Ethan stopped and pointed at my margins, surprised by the sketches I'd made. "You understand Kellerman's patient flow theory?" he'd asked. "It's flawed," I'd replied, not even looking up. "The real bottleneck is interdepartmental documentation." He pulled up a chair and listened. Actually, listened, until my break ended. The next day, he brought coffee and more questions. Within months, we were sketching the earliest version of what would become Sorelitech's signature platform, a patient monitoring system built from tired hands and pure necessity. Carter leans forward slightly. And Sorellatech? I smile faintly. Started in our apartment. 7 years ago. A pause. We closed last quarter just shy of $400 million. 7 years ago, Ethan and I launched Sorellatech from our cramped apartment kitchen. Last quarter, our revenue hovered just under $400 million. Across the ballroom, I spot Mom and Dad flanking Lena like human shields. Dad, face flushed, pacing in tight, angry circles. Mom, white-knuckled grip on Lena's arm, murmuring something frantic. They're about to try to pull him away from us, I say quietly. Carter follows my gaze. His jaw tightens. From the corner of my eye, I see Ethan approaching, phone loosely in hand. He moves like he's texting, but I know better. It's a strategy we've perfected over years of corporate skirmishes. Document everything while appearing disinterested. Everything okay over here? He asks gently, surgeon's gaze flicking over me with quiet precision. We're just catching up, I say, warmth swelling in my chest. Not just because he's here, but because he sees me. Not who they said I was, but who I've become. Right on cue, Mom swoops in. Her voice is a shade too bright, too loud. Carter, there's someone from Hamilton General who's dying to meet you. Her eyes glance over me like I'm scenery. But Carter doesn't budge. In a moment, Ava and I are in the middle of an important discussion. Her smile falters, stiff as porcelain. Of course, you know how she is. Always needed the spotlight, our Ava. Jealous of her sister's success, even as a child. Her words curl in the air like smoke, acrid, lingering. Guests nearby exchange awkward glances. The silence afterward is heavy. I don't respond. I don't need to. I sit upright, poised, calm. Ethan's hand rests gently on my shoulder, a quiet show of strength. 20 minutes later, I step into the dim light of the powder room. I'm not surprised to find Lena already there, reapplying mascara with trembling hands. Our eyes meet in the mirror. "Why are you doing this to me?" she asks, voice cracking at the edges. I turn on the faucet, take my time washing my hands. Doing what? Destroying my wedding, making Carter doubt everything. "I'm not doing anything," I reply softly. "I'm just here." Her hand slams down on the marble countertop. "You were supposed to stay gone." And finally, I see it. Not anger, not rage, but fear. The raw panic of someone realizing their entire life might have been built on a lie too fragile to hold. "They said you dropped out," she blurts, "that you couldn't handle the pressure, that you were—" And yet, here I am, I finish calmly, handling quite a lot. I leave her there, standing under too harsh lighting, makeup cracked, illusion slipping. Back by Ethan's side, his hand finds mine instantly. It's like coming home. Moments later, Lena reappears, makeup repaired, mask reapplied. But something behind her eyes is broken, like a mirror that's been glued back together but will never reflect the same again. I notice the shift first, a slow turn in the air. Guests begin drifting toward us, drawn not by scandal but by sincere curiosity. A neurosurgeon deep in conversation with Ethan about neural response tracking. A hospital administrator presses a card into my palm. "Your system reduced our post-op complications by 30%, she tells me. "We'd love to expand." Carter stands beside me now, engaged, interested, asking smart, strategic questions about Sorellatech's newest updates. Lena, barely visible at the edge of the circle, tries to smile. It doesn't quite land. Then comes the voice. Unmistakably Dad's, booming from across the room. "Carter, this is Lena's day. Can we please focus on her accomplishments?" The silence that follows is deafening, a vacuum that pulls every gaze toward us. Carter says nothing. He simply looks at me, then at Lena, who stands frozen in place. Her smile stretched too wide, too tight. No one speaks. No one has to. Some truths are loudest in the quiet. I set down my half-finished glass of champagne on a passing tray and glance at my watch. "We've stayed long enough," I whisper. From across the room, Ethan meets my gaze. A slight nod. We're always in sync. Are we leaving now? Noah tugs at my hand, his little voice full of hope. Pool time? Yes, buddy. I crouch to his level. Just one more thing. I reach into my clutch and pull out a cream-colored envelope. Inside, a modest share certificate for Sorella Tech stock. Not enough to change lives, just enough to make a point. This is who I am now, not the girl they discarded, the woman they could never break. It wasn't enough to change their world, but it was enough to make a statement. This is who I am now, not the scared girl they tossed aside. Ethan joins us, slipping his hand around the small of my back, grounding me. Ready? Almost. I scan the room for Carter. He deserves at least a parting word. It is still his wedding day, even if his in-laws have done their best to ruin it. We find him near the bar, watching Lena work the room with that polished charm she's mastered. But now, I see it. The subtle recoil when someone drops a medical term, the speed at which she redirects the conversation. The cracks are showing. We're heading out, I tell him gently, offering the envelope. Congratulations again. He accepts it with both hands, his expression unexpectedly warm. Thank you for coming, he says sincerely, his eyes drifting toward my parents, still hovering nearby like vultures sensing a threat. I mean it. This helped me see more than I expected. I didn't realize how much I needed to close this chapter, I admit. Carter leans in slightly, lowering his voice. I'd still like to visit Sorella Tech sometime. Professionally. Our eyes meet. A quiet understanding flows between us. He doesn't know everything, but he knows enough. My assistant will arrange it, I reply, slipping him a card. I feel Lena's gaze like a physical pull, watching us from across the room, her smile cracking like fine china. And then Mom appears again, armor on, voice practiced. Ava was always driven, she says to a nearby guest, tone light. Of course, she had advantages we couldn't offer Lena. The lie is so casual, so effortless, I almost laugh. What advantages were those, Mrs. Rowan? Ethan asks smoothly. Working 3 jobs through night school? Sleeping on friends' couches after you took her tuition fund? Mom's smile flickers. A few doctors within earshot pause their conversations. She recalibrates, but the damage is done. Noah looks up at me, puzzled. Aren't those people your family, Mom? The room stills. The question, simple, sincere, lands harder than any speech could. I crouch to his level. They're relatives, sweetheart. Family is different. That's when Dad approaches, puffed up with righteous fury, just like he used to before he'd lecture me about responsibility. You don't get to waltz back into our lives and act like, I'm not here to waltz anywhere, I say quietly but firmly. I'm not here to expose you or fix anything. I built a life you tried to stop me from having, and that's exactly what you forced me to do when you turned me out. Images flash through my mind. The storm that night, the weight of my suitcase, the fear of freedom and failure walking hand in hand. Noah fidgets with his bow tie again. Ethan rests his hand gently on his shoulder, watching him, the same way he once watched me when I was close to drowning in the weight of my own ambition. Thank you, I say, turning to my parents. They blink. Thank you for not helping, because you made me prove I didn't need you. Mom's face contorts, fury warring with public composure. For once, she says nothing. I take Noah's hand. Ethan falls into step beside me. We leave quietly. No dramatic scenes, no parting blows. Just the quiet dignity of walking away whole. Whispers trail us like wind, but they don't touch me. Not anymore. I've built something stronger than their silence, something louder than their denial. In the lobby, Noah twirls with joy. Pool time. 10 minutes to change, Ethan says, ruffling his hair. I'll meet you there. As we cross toward the elevators, I catch our reflection in the polished marble wall. The 3 of us, strong, steady, real. Back in the ballroom, I glimpse Carter one last time, standing still, watching Lena with fresh uncertainty in his eyes. Some weddings mark new beginnings. This one marked an ending, a quiet severance from expectations I never asked for. From approval, I no longer chase. From pain, I refuse to carry forward. Noah punches the elevator button with all the enthusiasm in the world. "Up we go," he says. I smile. Yes, up we go. Sunlight spills into my office through floor-to-ceiling windows, tracing golden beams across the concrete floor. It's been a month since Lena's wedding, yet it lingers in my memory like a song stuck on repeat. On my desk lies a proposal from Harborview Memorial, an 8-figure partnership to expand Sorelitech's system. Real numbers, real impact. No favors, no shortcuts. The proposal from Harborview Memorial sprawls across my desk, its 8-figure value bold against the header. Sorelitech's latest monitoring system has reduced post-surgical complications by 37% in their trials. Numbers don't lie, and numbers don't play favorites. My assistant's voice crackles over the intercom. "Dr. Carter Wills is here to see you." I pause, pen still in hand. I haven't spoken to my sister's husband since the wedding. Send him in. Carter enters like a man shouldering more than just exhaustion. His suit jacket is wrinkled at the elbows. Dark circles settle under his eyes like bruises. "Thank you for seeing me. Without notice," he says. He hovers until I gesture to the chair opposite me. "Coffee?" He shakes his head. I won't stay long. I nod and wait. Silence, I've learned, is the most persuasive invitation. "I've spoken to a lawyer about annulment," he starts. The words fall from his mouth like stones. Everything Lena told me was a lie. She never graduated from Eastbridge. She never managed the clinic. She's, the receptionist. I don't flinch. I'd known, not from proof, but from instinct. The lies were always there, waiting for someone to care enough to uncover them. "I'm sorry," I say, and I mean it. "She was made the face of the Rowan Wellness Center," he continues, "but it turns out your parents were billing Medicare for treatments they never performed, using outdated codes deliberately." He runs a hand through his hair, almost like trying to dislodge the weight of the truth. Lena helped them. The confirmation isn't shocking, but it still hits. A quiet blow to the part of me that once hoped things could have been different. "I didn't mean to drag you into this," he adds, "but when I started looking into Lena's background, your name kept showing up, in records, and then disappearing." I glance out the window. Sunlight reflects off the skyline, casting golden streaks across the concrete floor. I built this view from nothing. They built theirs on someone else's sacrifice. "They used my college fund," I say quietly. When I confronted them, they told me I wasn't Eastbridge material anyway. Carter winces. "I never even wanted to be a doctor," I continue. "I wanted to fix the systems doctors rely on, make them smarter, more human." "You've done that," he says, looking around my office. "Sorelitech is changing post-op care across the country. We sit in a moment of unspoken truth. No accusations, no defense. Just two people standing on either side of a broken family. The clinic's under investigation," he finally says. "I sent the reports anonymously after I saw how deep the fraud went. They've been doing it for 15 years. My breath catches. 15 years. Right around the time I left for college. My phone buzzes. A text from Ethan, picking up Noah early. Zoo day. Join us? A wave of warmth passes through me. This is my family now. "What will you do next?" I ask. Carter straightens. "File, cooperate, start over." He hesitates before continuing. "I came to apologize for how I brought you back into this, and to ask, do you plan to get involved in the investigation?" His question hangs there, heavy, unavoidable. I could bring it all down with one call. The CEO of Sorelitech has weight, enough to accelerate everything. "No," I say finally. "I built my life apart from theirs. I intend to keep it that way." Relief washes over his face. Thank you for your time. After he leaves, I stand at the window watching cars weave through the city far below. I feel oddly settled. My phone buzzes again. A voicemail. Lena, the third one this week. Ethan calls just as I'm grabbing my bag. You sound tired, he says gently. Carter stopped by. The Rowan Clinic is being investigated. Medicare fraud. A pause. Are you okay? I let the question land. Am I? Yes, I answer, surprised by the truth of it. Are you going to get involved? I watch a red-tailed hawk circling over the city, gliding on invisible currents with quiet command. I was thinking about what you said last week, I reply, that my success is already their greatest punishment. I stand by that, Ethan says, but it's your choice. My laptop chimes. A new email, it's from a federal attorney, part of the Medicare Fraud Division. Attached, forms requesting testimony regarding my time at Rowan Wellness. They want me to testify. I repeat to Ethan. He doesn't push. What will you do? He asks. I look at the screen. My finger hovers over the reply button. Part of me wants to delete it, to keep walking. But another part remembers the patients, the elderly, the ones who trusted them, who deserved better. I'll send the records I have, I say. Just the facts, no commentary, no vengeance. A pause. I'm proud of you, he says. Another voicemail from Lena pops up on my screen. The first begged for help. The second threatened to tell Noah the truth. I delete the third without listening. That, too, is a kind of closure. I hover over the decision to stay uninvolved, to let whatever comes their way arrive without my fingerprints on it. But then I remember the patients, the elderly couples who brought in their medication lists, trusting in honesty, the people whose benefits were siphoned behind closed doors. I'll send them copies of the clinic records from when I worked there, I decide. Nothing more, just the truth. I'm proud of you, Ethan says, his voice anchoring me once again. My phone buzzes. Another voicemail. Lena. The third one today. The first begged. The second threatened to tell Noah the truth. I delete the third without listening. The finality of that small act surprises me. Ethan's voice drifts from the background. Noah wants to see the new tiger cubs. Tell him I'm on my way. I gather my things, pausing at the doorway. The Harborview Memorial contract still sits on my desk, waiting. Another hospital, another milestone. I close the door behind me, leaving Lena's messages to dissolve in digital dust, where they belong. Some debts can't be repaid. Some wounds don't close cleanly. But moving on, it doesn't require forgiveness. Sometimes, it just needs release. The purple coneflowers lean into the sunlight. I reach down, pinching off a spent bloom, adding it to the little pile in my palm. It's been 6 months since the wedding, 6 months of finally breathing in shoes that fit. Noah races through the raised beds, his Batman cape flapping behind him like a flag of freedom. Mom, can I water the tomatoes? Start with the peppers, I say, pointing to their thirsty leaves. They need it more today. He grabs his little green watering can, tongue peeking out in concentration as he tries not to spill. The late May sun warms my back through an old t-shirt. No labels, no stage, just comfort, just home. Ethan appears at the patio door carrying 3 glasses of lemonade like a waiter in a 5-star restaurant. Reinforcements, he announces, stepping into our humble little garden. His hands, the same ones that repair tiny, failing hearts, now offer juice with exaggerated flair. Thank you, good sir, Noah replies, giving a clumsy bow that nearly tips his glass. Ethan's eyes meet mine across the moment. A quiet exchange passes between us. No words needed. This is everything, this garden, this boy, this life, he says, voice low. We built all of it from nothing but grit and belief. Oh, and spreadsheets, I tease. He grins. The Stanton Medical Board approved the system, he adds casually, though we both know the gravity behind it. 5th major hospital network this year. Thousands more patients. Real change, planted and grown from the seeds of a discarded dream. That's 5. Noah declares proudly, counting on his fingers. Mom's helping all the sick people get better faster. I ruffle his hair, smiling in awe at what he absorbs without even trying. That's the goal, buddy. The doorbell rings from inside. Ethan lifts an eyebrow. Expecting something? Maybe FedEx. Could be those Swiss component samples. But when he returns, his face has changed. He holds out a certified envelope. Even from across the garden, I can read the return address. Lena Collins Wills. The knot in my stomach tightens again, the one I thought I'd long since untied. I'll be in my office, I murmur. The envelope sits untouched for 17 minutes. I finish reviewing quarterly reports, giving the letter no more power than it deserves. When I finally open it, a single sheet slides out. Heavy, stationary, her handwriting looping across it. Ava, the clinic shut down last month. Not because of you, because of them. The investigation uncovered over a decade of fraud. Carter left me. He said he couldn't build a life on lies. He was right. I'm not asking for anything. Not money. Not help. I'm writing to say, you were never the problem. I grew up afraid your strength would outshine mine. I believed them when they said cutting you off was necessary. I was wrong. They were wrong. I'm sorry. Lena. I fold the letter, slide it back into the envelope. Ethan leans on the doorframe, saying nothing. What will you do? He asks. I turn back to my desk, opening a blank document. Nothing dramatic, I answer, and begin to type. A few minutes later, the printer hums. I slide the final page into a Cerelitech envelope, along with Lena's letter and my quiet reply. 2 weeks pass. Now I stand at the edge of the American Medical Innovation Summit in downtown Chicago, watching my team present our latest breakthroughs. The Cerelitech booth glows under exhibition lights, surrounded by clinicians, investors, and healthcare leaders. Our reputation speaks before we do now. Out of the corner of my eye, I catch a flicker of movement. Someone in pale blue scrubs stands near the education pavilion, her hair pulled into a plain ponytail, listening closely as a speaker walks through the fundamentals of medical coding. Lena. She clutches a document in her hands. The Cerelitech internship application I mailed her. It's creased and folded like it's been opened and reread 100 times. Her eyes lift. No gasps, no drama, just stillness. Our eyes meet across the room. What passes between us isn't forgiveness, but maybe it's something adjacent. Recognition. A nod to the story we share and the vastly different endings we wrote. I offer a small nod. She returns it. Neither of us moves closer. Some relationships aren't meant to be revisited, only respectfully closed. That evening, I signed the final paperwork for the Rowan First Generation Medical Scholarship, not named for my parents, but built from the strength of my own reclaimed name. 20 students next fall, full tuition, real mentorship, a foundation for those who come from nothing, like I did. Back home, I kneel in the garden again, digging space for new seedlings. Noah crouches beside me, his small hands gently patting earth around fresh roots. Some plants don't grow well too close together, I explain, guiding his hands. They need space to thrive. He tilts his head. Like people? I pause, smile softening. Smart boy, I say, pressing a kiss to his temple. Yes, just like people. The evening light casts golden ribbons across the yard. Through the kitchen window, I spot Ethan preparing dinner. Sleeves rolled, music playing low, moving comfortably in the home we've built. No chaos, no pretense, just peace. I press another seed into the dirt and cover it with care. Some roots you're born with. Others you plant for yourself. And with enough sunlight, even the ones you choose can grow deeper than the ones you lost.